eBay. Things people love.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Guys, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody get results at our clinic. He was an 81-year-old man who hadn't been intimate with his wife in over 8 years. Viagra had stopped working for him, and he was desperate for help. After several treatments, he walked into my office and told me he couldn't believe the results. Needless to say, this was a very happy man. This man made me a believer in what we do. He had taken pills for years, but he had never fixed the problem. When he came to us, we fixed the problem. Our treatment does what no pill can do. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today, like the thousands of men who already have.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Take your game day experience to the next level with a Mariner Suite. Suites are perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, client meetings, and that company outing you've been trying to plan for months. Enjoy first-class catering, VIP parking, custom setups for 14 to 400 people, and more, all with the help of a dedicated Mariners rep. Suites start at $125 per person, and season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve now at mariners.com/suites.
Munoz strikes out the side, and the ball game is over.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Colorado's Shedeur Sanders is one of the top 2 quarterback prospects in this year's draft, and yet he will not be working out at the scouting combine this week per ESPN. He will be in attendance and will meet with teams, but will not be throwing during Saturday's on-field workouts. He is expected to throw, though, at Colorado's Pro Day next month.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Happy Monday, you guys. We got a short show today. Going to take you to Cactus League play. Before we get to it, we have some interesting news around the NFC West. Some really fun sound from Justin Hollander out at spring training with Brock and Salk. So let's dive in. First, the latest news bump for the Seahawks is actually news about another team, the Los Angeles Rams. You guys already know what this story's about, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you right now. According to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, the Rams have given Matthew Stafford's agent permission to speak with other teams in order to gauge his value. Why? Here's what Peter Schrager said.
Fine relationship. This was nothing that is between them personally. This is a money issue. And Matthew Stafford wants to be paid what he thinks he's worth. He wants to be paid more than $50 million. They've given the agent, Jimmy Sexton, one of the best agents in all of football, both college football with the coaches, and, of course, in the NFL with coaches and players. They've given him the freedom to go seek out what might be some teams that would be of interest, and if those teams would pay him. And guess what? There are teams that are willing to pay him more than what the Rams are currently willing to pay him. The question is, does Stafford want to go to those teams? And what are those teams willing to give up? it's all very awkward because McVay and Stafford may end up together, and it's just like, well, that was water under the bridge. That was business. We got to keep the emotional side separate from the business side here.
It's kind of a weird story because I know the automatic assumption is, why do I care? I'm a Seahawks fan. Why do I care at all? Because a Matthew Stafford-less Rams team changes the fabric of the NFC West. It changes the conversation we're having about this division, and it's not a guarantee that Matthew Stafford either stays with the Rams, they'd like him to, or moves on. Also, the conversation about what a Giants team or the Raiders or whoever look with Matthew Stafford is also just a fascinating one for the NFL. So I'll start with this question for you, Bump. Happy Monday.
Hello.
If you were the Rams and you know that we've got to figure out a contract situation with Stafford because he's only got $4 million guaranteed. He's going to want more. You know, no matter what, you have to figure something else. Would you have figured it out, or would you do what they're doing and allow him and his agent to talk to teams?
I would allow them. And the reason why I would allow them is because if I am Sean McVay, I am the GM for the Rams, I'm looking at how this team is built and what the future looks like. I'm looking at what Philly is doing. Everyone's looking at Philly right now and saying, all right, what did they do? They don't have a great quarterback over there, even though he is getting $51 million a year in Jalen Hurts. But they got some weapons over there that can support a quarterback that doesn't have to be the guy. And that's what the Rams are doing. They have one of the better run games in the NFL right now. Kyron Williams, I believe he's what, 7th overall in rush yards, 1,299, 14 touchdowns, 6 when it comes to that. They have one of the better defensive lines in the game right now, the defensive rookie player of the year in Verse. You have Kobe Turner over there as well. You have Fisk. I think they're looking at the way this team is constructed. You got a young receiver on a cheap contract in Puka Nacua. You still got a pretty good tight end. I think they're looking at this situation and saying, we definitely want Matthew Stafford, but do we necessarily need him to have this team do well? No, I think Matthew gives you a better chance, but you can save money. He's trying to get $50 million a year. So $50 million. 51 starts with Jalen Hurts, then Lamar Jackson at 52, Herbert at 52, Goff at 53, Tua at 53, Love at 55. His camp thinks he is still a top 10 player in this game. He was 10th overall when it comes to yards, 15th in completion percentage, 12th when it comes to passing touchdowns, and 22nd when it comes to throwing interceptions. On paper, he's still a top 10 type quarterback. But how old is my man? 36, 37 years old? He's getting up there in age. So what Matthew Stafford is doing is exactly what he's supposed to do. Secure your future, get your bag, get more guaranteed money. But I think because of the season that these guys had last year, with all the rookies who balled out for him, they're looking at this squad and thinking, we don't necessarily need a Matthew Stafford for us to win games, but we definitely still want Matthew Stafford.
The weird place that the Rams are in, though, is like, when we have conversations, so both the Seahawks and Rams have older quarterbacks who are going to be looking for extensions. They're in similar situations. Both quarterbacks are going to need those extensions. For Stafford, it's because he wants more guaranteed money. For Geno, it's just for security of his future, and because it's like, he's not going to get paid $50 million, but he's like, I'd like a new deal. When it comes to the Seahawks, I think, well, God, like, who else are you going to get? Like, Geno can work. You're curious about what he looks like with a new OC. But the difference between the two teams is one of them, the Rams, was in the playoffs. One of them, the Rams, has been to and won a Super Bowl more recently. Both has been to and won a Super Bowl more recently. So the weird thing is, if the Seahawks moved on from Geno, you'd be like, well, maybe they're rebuilding. Maybe they're more in a rebuild mode than we anticipated. With the Rams, it's like, but why? Like you could, depending on how healthy San Francisco is, win the NFC West again if you hung on to Stafford. So it's just an interesting. I feel like there's more at stake for the Rams, and it's a curious decision. It's one I understand, but they seem like a team that could win the division if they were in place.
They barely won it this year. And
fair.
Why did they win it? Because the Hawks had their stumbles. San Francisco was injured. They had their deals, and then the Rams are still figuring it out. I think that plays into it as well. You're both 10-7, but you get the tiebreaker. You are -19 in differential. That was the Hawks were +7. The gap isn't that big.
Okay.
I think we look at the Rams and we saw the way that defensive line played, especially in the playoffs. We look at Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua. They're letting Cooper Kupp go. But on paper, they're not that far ahead of the Seahawks. Now we watch the games play, and you factor in Geno's interceptions and the inability to run the football, who's going to be offensive coordinator, what that offensive line looks like. You start getting to the nitty-gritty and the details. Okay, now you kind of see the gap widen a little bit. So I think the Rams are in an interesting position because you have enough young talent now to be good for 4 or 5 years, I think. with Matthew Stafford, if he's leading the charge, he's not going to be here for 4 or 5 more years. I think he's going to retire maybe in 2 to 3 years. So I think because they're in a position where they're looking at these youngsters on the team, they're looking at the future, it's in a weird place. It's like, yeah, we love you, Matthew, and we appreciate you. You've been a solid quarterback for us. But I see a place for this team where they bring in a younger guy, maybe a little bit cheaper, even if it's like a Sam Darnold, like $10 million cheaper than what Matthew Stafford wants. You're still going to get more years out of that guy. You're still going to be able to keep the band together longer. So I think there are a bunch of things factoring into this. I think at the end of the day, though, Matthew wants to be in L.A. The Rams want him in L.A. It just comes down to money.
What's it mean for the Seahawks if Stafford isn't in LA? That's ultimately why we're talking about this, right? Like, what's it mean for the Seahawks? Because Seahawks fans don't actually care, and I don't. Like, Matthew Stafford, it's an interesting NFL conversation if he goes to play somewhere else, but ultimately it's like, how do the Seahawks win the West? The weaker your opponents are, the better your likelihood to win. I think it's great that the 49ers are going to have to pay Brock Purdy $60 million per year because it makes it harder for them to build an unstoppable squad. And they're coming back from injuries, and we'll see what they look like. The Cardinals still feel a little ways away. I'm not looking at them as a favorite to win the division. You would look directly at the Rams, and you'd say, are the Seahawks and the Rams going to be in here again fighting for it? Them not having Stafford does make me favor Seattle, depending on what they do there.
Yeah, it does. If there's no Stafford, it's kind of like, yeah, I feel good, but now I got to wait and see what they do. Because I don't think Jimmy's the answer.
No.
I don't think Stetson Bennett is the answer.
No.
Where do you go from here? But I still look at the Rams and say, better defensive line overall. Receiver position, where we're competing, we're throwing hands there. Offensive line is better. Experienced coach. They still have some pieces that we're looking for. We know what type of offense the Rams are going to run. No matter who's at quarterback. And I think that's something that sticks out to me, too, is that Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback, but he's no young spring chicken, and they're not going to sit back there and ask him to throw the ball 650 times and win these ball games. It's more just run our offense, be efficient, don't turn the football over. And you can find that. And I think we're learning over the past few years, you can win ball games with just a game manager, general, make your big plays, have some game-winning drives, but just get us there, and we'll take care of the rest. We'll run the football, play good defense. We'll sack the quarterback 9 times in the first round against the Minnesota Vikings. You just take care of the rock, and we should be fine. That's what makes this thing interesting. You look at the division, the Hawks are going to ask Geno to do that. They're going to ask the Cardinals are going to ask Kyler Murray to do that, and the San Francisco 49ers have been asking Brock Purdy to do that for 3 or 4 years. There's no just superstar quarterback in this division. If there is anyone with superstar potential, it's Kyler Murray, and I think that that ship might be sailing right now. You just be a good quarterback, right? The potential for him to be just a superstar to me just isn't there anymore.
Can I spend 30 seconds on the topic of Kyler Murray, because it's interesting to me, and it's just one of those off-season conversations where you go off the rails frequently. On the topic of Kyler Murray, before I get to Stafford's potential landing spots, Kyler Murray, it feels like, is the most – Stafford has the best arm, but is otherwise the most physically gifted quarterback in the division. He's still really young. They've invested in him. He's a top-paid quarterback. They've shown him, like, you're our guy. But there's some – I don't know if it's like a body language. I don't think it's effort. But it's like every single year the conversation about Kyler Murray is like can you be a leader? Do you think that's overrated? Like, that conversation isn't deserved? I always go back to that 49ers – Cardinals playoff game.
Heck no. You have to. You're the ultimate leader at that quarterback spot. And it's not like he's only played a few years and I'm saying he's washed. He's not going to do anything. He's been in the league 6 years. Like, we've seen a lot of Kyler Murray, and I think he can be a really good quarterback and is a really good quarterback. 21 tuds, 9 interceptions, 3,800 yards last year. Ran the football for 572 and 5 touchdowns. He is and can continue to be a really good quarterback. But I think that I've seen enough to exclude him from the elite of the elite. From like, okay, you're going to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the game. But we have learned you don't need to be that. So that's no knock on Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
He can still be enough to get into the conference championship and have all these accolades and stuff, but that ship is sailed. But, yes, you look at the division, and you look at what teams are doing and what they're not doing, and you look at the moves that the Seahawks have made, I predict this is going to be one of the more competitive years in this division. I think the Cardinals are going to get better. I think the Rams are still going to be good. That defensive run game is going to hold it down. I think that the offense is going to take a step forward here in Seattle. It's going to be competitive. So, yes, it does feel better if Matthew Stafford is not there.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, okay, we got a notch on him. But then you still got to wait and see who you going to get. You getting Sam? You getting Russell? Are you going to draft a guy? You know, because it's so important. And you said this during our prep. At the quarterback position, man, you could have a sure thing in this draft, a defensive lineman who is just the greatest athlete you've seen of all time. A quarterback's still going to go number one.
Yeah.
Why? Because they touch the football every single play. They make every decision for this team. So it starts there. Matthew Stafford gone, but I'm still going to look and see who's coming back and if he's gone, who's coming back and who fills the role at QB.
Okay, so that's the latest part of this conversation that's relevant for the Seahawks. I want to have just a general NFL fan perspective on this because I watch a lot of teams, and I am very interested to see if there is a trade where Matthew Stafford lands. So I'll tell you the latest from Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer about the 4 teams that are interested, and tell me which one intrigues you the most, like which team with Stafford could take the biggest step. He said the teams you'd suspect have their hat in the ring, indeed threw their hats into the ring. The Giants, the Browns, the Steelers, the Raiders. Those are the 4 that he listed as have shown interest. He said others have, but those are the 4 that he listed. So I'm guessing those are the 4 maybe with the most interest or the most willing to make a deal. Of those 4, Giants, Browns, Steelers, Raiders, which team becomes best with the addition of Stafford?
Easy. Steelers all day. It's the Steelers. New York, you do have a number 1 receiver over there, Malik Neighbors. Great. Lots of stuff needs to happen. Don't have a run game. Offensive line is, you know what. Cleveland Browns, same thing. Cleveland Browns took 5 steps back by signing Deshaun Watson.
Crazy
5 steps
trade
back.
Still.
And Las Vegas Raiders, they just have so much to do. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are a veteran type of quarterback spot. It's steady. You know what you're gonna get. That's like you're living in a retirement community. You know, Charlotte's gonna drive by in her golf cart and go to the cafe at 6 a.m. You know what you're gonna get from the Pittsburgh
You know,
Steelers.
Eddie's going to come in here asking everyone if they're done with their pudding.
Exactly. You know what you're gonna get. Pittsburgh Steelers. Retirement community, consistent, you got it. The Vegas Raiders are the most interesting one to me because there's something going on over there with the hire of Pete Carroll, and I'm intrigued. I'm interested to see what happens there. The thing with that situation is Pete only has a 2 to 3 year contract. He's 70-something years old. You don't know how that's going to shape out. I do think Chip Kelly's going to be the next head coach over there. And then who did I miss? The Giants, Steelers.
No,
I got them all
Giants,
covered.
yeah, you got
there we
them
go.
all.
So just go to the retirement community. Go to Mesquite, Nevada. If you've ever been to Mesquite, Nevada,
No.
It's an hour outside of Las Vegas. They got great golf courses
Is that
over
where
there.
you were?
No, I was in Vegas.
Okay.
But an hour outside of Vegas, great golf courses, golf carts riding around town. It's super safe. You know what you're gonna get. That is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
My parents spend a lot of time in Sun City, which is a retirement community just outside of Peoria, actually. Speaking of spring training, we've got some great Justin Hollander sound coming up later from Brock and Salk. Everyone drives golf carts.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this was a thing. Like, I went out to visit them, and I hadn't spent a lot of time, but this was a couple years ago. Every other house it's a golf cart and not a car. And not only that, but because the whole community is like this, the roads are made where there's these little paths cutting across the roads where if you have a golf cart, you can turn around quickly.
Nice.
And the whole entire community is made for if you are 80.
That's what I'm saying.
This is your dream life.
I might jump in there at 65.
Honestly, when I was out there, I was like, I could do this. Your whole world is like, I'm going to get in my golf cart, drive to this air-conditioned Walgreens, and go back home and have dinner at 3 p.m.
Lovely. That's the
It's
life.
a great time. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Logan Gilbert makes his first Cactus League start today, and Luis Castillo will go tomorrow. What's the real headline?
Is that the order we should expect to see March 27th and 28th?
We talked about it. I would still give Castillo the start, but I'm not against Logan doing his thing. Led the team in strikeouts, game started, quality stars, innings pitch. He's reliable. You know what you're going to get. Talk about Mesquite. I mean, hey, you know what you're going to get out of Gilbert. He's Mesquite. So I think this could be some foreshadowing. I think that this might set the tone, and I'm completely fine with it. And I hope Castillo is fine with it because it's all about what's best for the team. It's not like moving a guy to 1 to 2 is going to drastically change some things, right? But you want to set a tone. And at one point, The Rock Castillo was that tone setter, right? He had that intimidation factor. He had a year where he wasn't himself. What has been true the last, 3-4 seasons is that Logan Gilbert's going to do his thing. So if he gets the mount or gets the ball first opening day, I'm all good with it.
Yeah, I think I just assumed like this starting rotation group is so incredibly close, and Luis Castillo is kind of a leader within them, is just the oldest one, as having been the ace. So I thought, well, maybe they'll still give him the nod just out of, he's exceptionally talented, but also from a place of respect and being like, well, you're the leader, and then we're going to follow. Everyone knows Logan's talented. Everyone knows Kirby's talented, but eventually you do kind of need to change. Like, eventually you need to stop with only a ceremonial idea of something and start going with like, well, who do we want moving forward? And I wonder if this is the season they finally do that.
There's so many games in a baseball season, though. It's like, does it really matter? It does just for perception. Right? It tells you where people stand and how this team is going to be moving forward. But does it really matter who is out there on opening day?
If either you and Curtis, I'll pull you in here as well. If you and Bump have to guess right now, say right now, is Luis Castillo the opening day starter? Forget who else it might be. Maybe it's George, maybe it's Logan. Is Luis Castillo the opening day starter on March 27th?
I don't think so anymore, no. Not with this move.
I'm not very confident in that right now.
Okay.
Nope.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders says he will not throw at this week's NFL Combine. What's the real headline?
Yeah, and he won't drop in the draft either.
Yeah, I hope people don't make a big deal of this. Caleb Williams didn't do it. Jaden Daniels didn't do it. Drake May didn't do it. He has nothing to prove anymore. No. He led the country in completion percentage, 74% completion percentage, FBS record, right? He led the Big 12 in passing yards. He's a finished product when it comes to his draft status. There's nothing he can do physically to go there
except for
to
hurt
help,
himself.
but he can hurt himself. Where he's gonna help himself the most are these interviews with these GMs and coaches and all that stuff. He's got to show people that, look, I'm a responsible young man. I forgot what I heard. I think I heard Chris Carter talk the other day, and he had a driver at some event, and the driver had just had Shedeur Sanders and his brother for like 2 or 3 days. So Chris Carter gets in, whatever car they're in, he's driving him around, and the driver's talking about Shedeur Sanders, how responsible he is, how he's on time, how he's motivating his brother. Those are the things that matter the most right now in Shedeur Sanders' career when it comes to getting to the NFL. We know what he is on a football field on the college level. He's got to get rid of some of the negative that people automatically assume because he's Deion's kid, because he's got the chain, he's got the watch.
He's clearly confident.
Yeah, he's doing it differently, and people aren't used to this. So he will gain more by talking to these GMs. I don't care if he don't throw the ball in pro day.
Well,
watch the dang film. We know what he can do.
And important to know, he will be throwing at his own pro day with receivers he's familiar with. That's something that every quarterback has liked doing, right? I prefer to throw to guys where I've been playing with them for a couple of years, or I know them well, or I'm in a controlled environment where I can showcase things I know I'm good at, right? And for anyone wondering, he will be in attendance. And Bump mentioned, just knock it out of the park with those interviews. He'll be talking with teams. He's just not going to be physically working out on Saturday when a couple of these other guys, whether it's McCord, Milroe, like guys that have a little more to prove. Like you have, Jackson Dart, right?
Yep.
I've seen one mock draft by Field Yates that had Jackson Dart going at like 20. And there are others where he goes like late day 2. That's a quarterback that's going to want to get out there and be like, I have room to make up. If I make a couple amazing throws at the combine, there might be a couple scouts somewhere that go, I feel like I can bet on this guy. Shedeur doesn't need to do that. Cam doesn't need to do that.
Not good. Drake, Daniels, Williams did not participate. Went 1, 2, and 3 in the draft last year.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, the Kraken split a pair of road games over the weekend, beating the Stanley Cup champs Panthers, but losing to the Lightning. What's the real headline?
Honestly, you can really see the warts of your own team better after watching the best in the world play the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's different.
It's like they were playing in slow motion.
It's a different game.
It really is.
It's like, no disrespect to U.S. soccer, but it's like watching MLS or watching the English Premier League first, and then watching MLS. I'm like, man, that first touch is not the same. Man, that speed, that technique is not the same. So thank you Four Nations for giving us that. I was in Vegas for one of those games, and the Canadians were talking that talk. So big ups, Canada. You deserved it. You won it. And I think, but what it did do was get more eyes on the NHL game, I'm sure. But now it's just, you got to watch the right games. It's like if I'm watching the Olympics and I'm watching the U.S. team play France, I'm not going to turn on the NBA and look for the Portland Trailblazers against the Sacramento Kings and expect the same type of intensity and skill. But it might take your eyes there. So hopefully they're capitalizing on this. Big ups to the core. One of those games against the Panthers had 26 saves. There's still 5 games under 500.
Yeah.
They're not going to make the playoffs this year, but maybe you got a few more viewers.
I like the analogy, though, of comparing MLS to the Premier League. And it's like, you never mean to disrespect someone, but there is a gap that's obvious when you watch 2 different platforms for the sport. One being a replacement for the All-Star. So already these players are the best in the league. And then there's this passion that they're playing with because you've now attached flags.
Yeah.
You've attached meaning to these games. So it's just a different speed, different level, different talent group. I mean, you could use the Kraken as a direct analogy with MLS, and that you still need time. You still need development. Not only does the rest of NHL have some time on you, but this is a brand new franchise. Like, they need to find stars. They need to up that talent. Like, there's money and time and history that isn't invested in this group yet. The question is whether Ron Francis is the guy that can get that done. I wouldn't say he's like directly on like a hot seat, but there's a conversation around Ron Francis, around this front office, around the Kraken front office decisions that we were not having when the team was an expansion draft, because why would you?
No, it's like, all right, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And then you exceed expectations. And then you take a dip.
Run.
And some of your young talent isn't progressing the way that you wanted it to work out. Those conversations have to be had, but I still think he has a year or 2.
Yeah. We are just over a month away from opening day, so let's learn more about this Mariners team with Seattle Times reporter Adam Jude next. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
We are now speaking with the architect of your Seattle Seahawks.
How we doing, football fans?
With Seahawks President of Football Operations and General Manager John Schneider.
My job is to do what's best for the Seattle Seahawks organization. I have to keep wrapping my mind around that and trying to communicate effectively.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
What's the standard the Seahawks defense needs to be held to under Mike McDonald?
The John Schneider Show.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. The season's first tryout for adults ages 18 to 65 and older is this Sunday, March 2nd at Hogan Park at Russell Road in Kent. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbor's dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
The Gene Simmons Band, live Tuesday, April 8th at Muckleshoot Event Center. He's the God of Thunder. He's going to rock and roll all night and bring you an unforgettable night of head-banging rock and roll. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. The Gene Simmons Band, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
Rain. It is like our regional calling card here in the Northwest. And when we get a lot of rain, eventually the earth that our homes are built on, that becomes saturated. And that leads to groundwater intrusion in your crawl space. That's no good. Mike Salk here. And if rain or groundwater is making its way into your crawl space, it can create big problems, including structural damage or toxic mold that ventilates into your home. You don't want any part of it. That's why Crawl Pros can keep your crawl space dry by installing a crawl space drainage system that reroutes all that water back out and away from your home. They'll also inspect the crawl for mold and properly address if there are any signs of danger. Don't take a risk. Do what I did. Have Crawl Pros come out and do a free corner-to-corner inspection and learn if you have any water issues at all. They will go where you don't want to. Certainly where I don't want to. If you're worried about water damage, mold, insulation, critters, issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com to schedule a free inspection. That's crawlpros.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
In partnership with Virginia Mason Franciscan Health and the Nick of Time Foundation, the Seahawks are hosting the 2nd annual free youth heart screening event at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center in Renton. This is going to be Saturday, March 8th. This is a public event providing screenings for youth ages 12 to 24 in hopes of detecting heart abnormalities and giving them the knowledge and care that they need. Detecting heart conditions early is key, and a simple heart screening could save a life. So don't wait. Spots are limited. You can register today at vmfh.org/Seahawks. Again, that's vmfh.org/Seahawks. This is a free event that's going to be Saturday, March 8th. Coming up at 10:45, we are jumping to the Tush Push conversation. I know that feels a little repetitive, but you guys will not be surprised to learn that an unnamed NFL team has officially proposed a Tush Push ban. They've had enough of it. What do you think that team is before we get to this segment? We're going to bring on Adam in 1 second.
Any team that lost to them.
The Packers? You think it's the Packers?
Could be the Packers. Could be the Chiefs. I doubt it's the Chiefs, though.
Really?
I think Andy Reid's too much of a G to be like, I'm going to complain about this play.
You think it's the Packers?
It's probably the Packers.
I think it's the Packers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're getting to that in 15 minutes. Right now, we're talking Mariners with Seattle Times reporter Adam Jude joining us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Adam, how's it going?
Good, guys. Just sorry for the delay. Just finished up an interview with Julio Rodriguez, walking off practice field 2 here in Peoria. So,
Now,
sorry to keep you.
oh, that's okay. I mean, I can't wait to hear more about this, and I don't want to spoil, the column or the takeaways you're going to have. But can I ask how the conversation was?
Yeah, so we had an interesting sight, and according to Julio, it's the first time he's faced Andres Munoz here in a live at-bat, and the last time as well. He said, I'm never doing that again. Julio, of course, has been in center field, supporting Andres Munoz for many of his appearances the last few years for the Mariners, and now we got a new appreciation for what hitters are going through. Andres Munoz has been the talk of camp here the last few days. You may have heard he's unleashed a new changeup. It's called a kick changeup. I described it as some ungodly creation, and it is absolutely nasty. It is absolutely filthy. I don't know how else to describe it, except I don't imagine anyone will be hitting it anytime soon. So, yeah, Munoz struck out Julio on 4 pitches his first time, and then Julio was geared up for a first pitch 100-mile-per-hour fastball his next time, and he smoked it to center field and says he'll never face Mooney again in his life. So, yeah, it was quite the fun development. As you can imagine, being around Julio here, he enjoys himself, and that was a pretty fun moment there.
Those are great reps. Yeah, I was Adam. I was in Vegas this weekend, and my phone kept blowing up about Munoz and that pitch. What's behind it? What inspired him to do this? Is this something that youngest pitchers do? You experiment with some things during spring training and see what sticks?
Yeah, if you followed the Mariners pitching staff at all, these guys, honestly, they're a bunch of nerds, and I say that affectionately. They look at other pitchers, they look at the pitch shapes, they look at the pitch grips. They're constantly experimenting. They can pick up new pitches just like that. And so I think Munoz was maybe a little bit jealous of the starters being able to do that so many times. Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert has 7 pitches. Munoz as a closer certainly doesn't need 7, probably only needs 2. But he saw the kick changeup grip on Instagram the other day. He said it was literally 3 or 4 days ago, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go try that." And I picked it up just playing catch out in the grass the other day with Luis Castillo, and brought it to his bullpen a couple days ago. And then today was the first time he's shown it to a hitter, and got a swing and a miss from Cade Marlowe. And I think it's going to be a new weapon for Andres Munoz now. He's been one of the best relievers, one of the best closers in baseball the last few years. And 26 years old, entering his prime. He's healthy, he's primed, he's confident. I think he has a chance to be even better, which is certainly saying something.
This is the influencer culture I can get behind. Like, I can get behind a reliever on my team picking up a filthy pitch because he's like, yeah, I was looking at Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, and I just thought that would be a cool thing. Like, great, sign me up for that kind of influencing. I'm going to take a look, obviously, at the offense, particularly that infield. Adam, I don't need to tell you. You've been covering this. It's the number one question for so many people heading into spring training. And unfortunately, we're not really going to get answers until the season starts. But what are you personally watching with that group as we head through Cactus League play?
Yeah, good question. Well said. And I don't think we are going to get any great answers here. Maybe for another month, right? We're still in February. Every time we ask Dan Wilson about it, it's, we'll see. We'll see how things shake out. They want to give these guys a long runway. And again, with the way their offseason unfolded, they weren't able to swing a major trade for an upgrade at second base or third base. They weren't able to sign a major free agent at second base, third base. A lot of reasons for that. Certainly the resource and the money has been talked a lot about, but it was also truly a thin market on the free agent front for those positions. And then, on the trade front too, you didn't see any of those. Certainly big third baseman moves. Mariners checked in on everyone. And so there are question marks. There are still question marks, frankly, at first base, second base, and third base, which is not ideal if you're a Mariners team hoping to improve your offense and trying to get over the hump in the AL West. That said, they do like the flexibility they have. They like the options they have. I wrote about Ryan Bliss today, still 25-year-old, trying to prove himself. He kind of got a cup of coffee last year, 33 games. Showed some nice things. His defense was better than the scouting reports I had heard. He's worked really hard on his defense. And then he worked really hard, he said, this offseason, kind of adjusting his swing. He realized he had a pretty significant flaw on the front side of his swing. He was flying open. and missed a ton of fastballs last year. You're not going to be a major league hitter. You're not going to stick in this league if you can't hit the fastball. That is hitting 101. Hunt the fastball, be on time for the fastball, and he wasn't last year. And he knew it. He was honest about it when I talked to him yesterday. He said, everyone knows, anyone who watched the Mariners baseball, everyone in this organization knows I was exposed by the fastball. I am not going to let that happen again. So Ryan Bliss is one of the guys that I'm looking at closely this spring. I think he has a real chance to win the job at second base. Dylan Moore is the veteran, but I do think, and I think there's a lot of people in the organization that believe that Dylan Moore is better suited as the super utility guy, won a Gold Glove in that role last year. He's just so valuable being able to play so many different places, coming in as a pinch hitter or pinch runner, late defensive replacement. I think that ultimately is maybe his best role, is that Swiss Army knife. And if they can figure out that Ryan Bliss is a potential everyday player at second base, I do think the Mariners might be better positioned in that regard. And that's one of the guys who's going to get a long runway this spring to prove himself, certainly.
Yeah, I read it this morning, your article this morning, Adam, and that was kind of where I was going to lean towards. So I got to adjust a little bit. So I was going to ask you about Bliss and his fastball and him not being able to capture to it and make some good contact. How do you think the Mariners kind of nurture him through this? Is it I don't know how much you know about this, but what's a day-to-day like for Ryan Bliss, a guy who clearly needs to work on catching up with the fastball?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, part of that is on him, right? And that's what he said. All October, he said he didn't take one swing. All he did was watch video, work with some hitting instructors on the mechanics of his swing. All right, what am I doing? And that's where he was able to diagnose, man, I'm just flying open on my front side. His hip was, drifting and flying open way too early because he's trying to hurry up and get to that fastball, and he's really not in a good position to catch up to it. So once he was able to identify it, then he spent the rest of the offseason fixing it. And he said he felt coming in here, getting a taste of the majors last year, gave him some confidence. And he's here, second year in the organization after that Paul Sewald trade a year and a half ago. Much more comfortable. He's really leaned on J.P. Crawford, who's been a mentor and a good friend to him. And I think that certainly helped Ryan Bliss kind of feel a lot more comfortable, like he belongs here. And again, that's his job now to go prove it. The Mariners need a second baseman. Yeah. They've got a young one there. And like I said, he's going to get every opportunity, I feel like, this spring to go grab a hold of that.
Okay, last question. I didn't save you much time at all, so feel free to keep it sweet and simple, or even say, I have no idea. Is your gut telling you we're still looking at Castillo as opening day starter, or do you think that's a decision that has yet to unfold here?
Dan Wilson was asked about it this morning. He's not ready to make a decision, but
Okay.
I do think it's interesting that Logan Gilbert is going to be starting the first of those five to start today. If it's me, I'm picking Logan Gilbert, and it's not even that tough a decision because of what he is and what he represents for this organization.
Good stuff. Seattle Times, Adam Jude. Keep an eye out for the latest from Adam. He's out at spring training, seattletimes.com/sports. Thanks so much, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, coming up in NFL offseason news, as I mentioned, there's a proposal from an unnamed team to ban the Tush Push. Does this play belong in football, or are some teams being way too sensitive about an unstoppable force? That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
I think you play as long as you still love it.
You of anybody would be on board with that. You've talked about it a million times. It's no good on the outside, and you were trying to make a comeback at 40. And
Except for this show. I wouldn't leave, seeing Matt and Mike every day. I mean,
it's really what brings joy to you every day, those two.
Even if a team came calling right now, theoretically, said, Wyman, we want you.
You're trying to kill me, right?
Yeah, you got one play in me, and I'm going on IR for the rest of the season.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
No more football means I'm ready for an escape, and since my weekends are free, I'm looking for something fun, relaxing, and with some entertainment built in. I have just a place for you. It's Silver Reef Casino Resort. They got a hotel, they got a spa, they got multiple restaurants, including the best steakhouse north of Seattle and the brand new cantina. They got concerts, they have events, they got everything. But hold up, they also have good golf. You know what that means. I'm getting back out there when the weather gets better. It's all systems go for Silver Reef Casino Resort. Now, don't try to tell me it's too far. You'll spend more time on the highway this weekend getting little Bobby to his soccer games. All right, hop on I-5 North, and you're basically there. You can even fill up. They have some of the cheapest gas prices you'll see all year. Join Silver Reef for your free, join Silver Reef Resorts for your free 10% off at the resort. Don't wait. Visit silverreefcasino.com. That's silverreefcasino.com. They got something for everybody.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years? Like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models. Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Hey, Bill! Got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
No matter how old you get, you always remember that one great teacher. Hi, this is Rick Riz, inviting you to join WSECU in celebrating Teacher of the Week. Great teachers inspire. Nominate a teacher you feel has changed a life in our community. This year, we're going to honor 24 great teachers with grants of $500, courtesy of WSECU, the credit union for Washington. Teachers are the real MVPs. Nominate an exceptional teacher now at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off, They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Someone wants the Tush Push banned. A couple different reports coming out this morning. This was an update from Troy Vincent officially. That an unnamed team has officially proposed a Tush Push ban. This has been a play that is unstoppable for the Philadelphia Eagles, has been a point of contention and conflict as a result of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if more than one team would like to see this play banned, but we know that at least one team has officially proposed it. We don't know who the team is. Bump's best guess was the Green Bay Packers. I think the Chiefs could be another popular assumption. But we'll start with this one. Should it be? Is it fair for the league to ban the Tush Push? Is it fair for this team to say, get this play out of football, it doesn't belong here?
You know what's been banned over the years? You got to hit quarterbacks in their torso. You can't hit a defenseless receiver going across the field. No more crackback blindside blocks. Why have those plays been banned? For the safety of the individual out there. It has nothing to do with safety.
No.
This is just one team is doing it better than you. And when are they doing this? When they need to get a yard, maybe even 2 yards. That is just football. So you're going to ban a play that a team does better than the other teams because they have success on it. No, I think it's ridiculous. I think that's one of the softest things I've heard in football so far. I get keeping players healthy. You're looking at their futures. You don't want them to be walking around at 50, 60, 70 years old and their brains all jacked up. That makes sense to me. But this is just strategy. And I get how it's difficult to stop that from 1 yard. Don't let them get to a yard then.
Exactly.
Have your defense ball out. Get them to 3rd and 3. Get them to 4th and 4. Make them have to really consider doing a different play. Because there are some plays that are on film. And teams are going to line up, and the defense is going to see the formation. They'll see the down and distance and know exactly what's going to happen, but you still can't stop it because you were out-executed. The Tush Push is a play where the Eagles out-execute teams 90% of the time. It is what it is. And they thought because Kelsey was gone, it was going to be different. No, they replaced him, and he's good to go. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Don't get to 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, and you don't have that issue.
Someone said, yes, this isn't rugby. Aren't you not able to pull a teammate over the goal line? You're not. Then why would pushing be okay? I think they're fundamentally different things. Pulling a teammate over the line, turning and pulling, versus pushing and being a force, because pushing forward feels central to football.
Yeah.
And the roots of football, which are tied to rugby. I know
Exactly.
they evolved separately and ultimately are two different things. But they're kind of from the same root.
Yes.
And so there is an element to, like, when you watch players line up for a tush push play and you see it happen in slow motion, does it not feel like football?
It feels exactly like football. It feels like the essence of football, of having lower body strength and being powerful and trying to move an object down the field a max 100 yards. No, I like the tush push, man, and I think that eventually there's going to be a defense that knows how to stop it, or eventually the Eagles aren't going to have the personnel to do it. The Eagles have the biggest offensive line when it comes to height and weight across the board, the biggest in the game. Why wouldn't they be the best at that? I bet you there are some offenses that have the quickest guards in the game, and maybe they run power better than anybody. They run trap better than anybody. No, they got the personnel. So just like in any other sports, when one team is doing something great, especially in your division, what do? You draft guys to kind of combat that. I'll always go back to my Laker days, man. The Spurs used to tear us up in their half-court offense, and we had to figure out a way to jack up their half-court offense. So what do? You start putting pressure on the ball as soon as it's inbound. You start drafting these forwards that can take turns guarding Tim Duncan. You got to do some things to make this a deterrent or make it tougher for these teams to execute that. But when it's all said and done, most teams should be able to pick up a yard on any given play. We saw Josh Allen do it, and officially didn't do it, but we watched the film, and he picked up that first down on 4th and 1 against the Chiefs. So, man, I think that's ridiculous. And I think that years from now, this isn't going to be an issue. I thought this year wouldn't be an issue because Kelsey had retired. But lo and behold, 6'6", 335 pounds is the average weight across the board for Philly. They're going to be able to move people.
Yes.
This is what it is.
And I saw, Peter Schrager interviewed Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it's this really long interview. I just watched the first half of it, but basically it's Neil deGrasse Tyson explaining the physics behind the tush push and why it basically works every single time. And he's like, it's inherent to the nature of the play itself. The defense cannot move until the offense is already moving. So, like, if you had it where both could move at the exact same time, you have a whistle or you have something and both can just lunge at each other, then maybe you have less success with the tush push, or maybe it works a lot but not quite as often. But the nature of football, the actual rule, is the offense must snap the ball first.
Yeah.
So they're already moving, even like a fraction of a second. They're already moving forward before the defense can do anything. And then you think of the science behind all of that momentum catapulting forward, and it's hard to stop that as a defense no matter what you do. To your earlier point about, well, then don't let them get to, 4th and inches from the goal line. Don't let them get to
3 other
1.
opportunities to stop this from happening.
Yeah.
And you didn't. And that's football, right? Starting at 1st and 10 and getting to 4th and 1 is football. It's sequence of plays. You are moving the ball down the field. The object of the game is for the defense to stop the offense from gaining yards, to get in a position where they have to kick the ball, whether it be a field goal or a punt. You didn't do your job.
No.
So let the offense run a play that works for them.
I think, too, there is an element of this that feels like if it works for you but can't work for me, then it shouldn't be in the game. No unfair advantages. I have seen so many people text into the Mac and Jacks text line fairly saying, well, you shouldn't be able to aid a runner until he crosses the line of scrimmage, or you shouldn't be able to. Like, there is an element here that isn't just a quarterback sneak. It's more than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's layered. But this is currently legal. It's currently possible for any team in the NFL to do this. They just can't do it the same way. You know what I mean?
You can aid a tackler.
There isn't technically an unfair advantage Philly has. They are just the only team that's been able to do it this way.
Bigger.
That's it.
If you know what, my coach back in Culver City High School, Coach Miles, who's our linebacker coach, and I remember we played this team, Lusinger High School, bunch of ooses on this team, the biggest team I've ever played against in my life in high school. And my coach was like, look, we're probably not going to be able to get them down with the first guy. First guy, you hold on for dear life. Help is on the way. So just like you can aid a runner, if you are tackling somebody, you can aid him as well. Hold him up, drive your feet, and we're gonna push you backwards. So no, man, that is some weak stuff. They're just bigger. They're just better than us, man. It's the NFL, man. It's supposed to be one of the toughest leagues in the world, other than the rugby leagues, the sevens or whatnot. So no, I think that's a ridiculous take. Eagles aren't gonna be the best at it forever.
Mm-hmm.
Just deal with it.
Yeah, well, apparently we might not have to if it's actually banned.
Crazy.
Justin Hollander joined Brock and Salk from spring training this morning. The latest from the Mariners GM coming your way next.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
We are now speaking with the architect of your Seattle Seahawks.
How we doing, football fans? With Seahawks President of Football Operations and General Manager John Schneider.
My job is to do what's best for the Seattle Seahawks organization. I have to keep wrapping my mind around that and trying to communicate effectively.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
What's the standard the Seahawks defense needs to be held to under Mike McDonald?
The John Schneider Show.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
Oh, man, the freezing cold, it's here. All you want to do is get inside out of it, right? But you're not the only one. You know who else wants to be inside warm? Rats, mice, rodents. Yeah, Mike Salk here, and as temperatures drop, rats, mice, other rodents, they're looking for a cozy spot. They want to make a home, maybe reproduce. But the result for your house could be a smelly mess and, even worse, destroyed insulation. Your crawl space and attic can be out of sight and out of mind, but real issues can arise without you knowing about it until far too late. Yeah, we had some rodents in the house. Crawl Pros came out, and they took care of the problem, dealt with the insulation, dealt with the rodents. Mice and rats only need a very small hole in the siding or foundation walls to make a huge mess. So call Crawl Pros. They will come out and go where you don't want to. Call them to see what's going on behind those crawl space and attic hatches for free. If you're worried about critters, mold, water damage, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Sherry, what have you done to your hair? What do you mean? Does it not look good? It doesn't look good. It looks freaking amazing. I can't believe how thick and healthy it looks. Oh, I must know your secret. No secret. It's hair volume from New Nordic. Hair volume, huh? Well, it certainly lives up to its name. Your hair has never looked so thick. It is gorgeous. I was so tired of having thin and brittle hair. Ugh, and the shedding. So I figured I'd give hair volume a try. Needless to say, I'm thrilled with the results. Hey, where are you going? I'm going to pick up some hair volume right now. My reunion's next month, and I want my hair to look as good as yours.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or your local CVS. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Help your hair look full, voluminous, and beautiful again at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
Is that a new Samsung Galaxy A15 5G?
Yeah, I got it for free when I joined Cricket Nation.
Sounds pretty great.
At Cricket, anyone can get a new phone when they switch.
Whoa.
With a high-quality camera, meaning more flattering selfies for all. And super fast 5G, so you can post them for all to see. Your friends, your family, your ex. Free phone! Free phone!
Okay, I'll switch.
Welcome to Cricket Nation.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax to its sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted it close to town, with a picture window overlooking a yard. And you found it. Now, when you sit down to dinner, you've got front row seats too. Your neighbor's daily pickleball game. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Colorado Shooter Sanders, one of the top 2 quarterback prospects in this year's draft, will not work out at the scouting combine this week per ESPN. He will be in attendance and will meet with teams, but will not be throwing during Saturday's on-field workouts. Now, he is expected to throw at Colorado's Pro Day next month.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. How are the Mariners going to decide who pitches on opening day? Those are one of the many questions fielded by Mariners GM Justin Hollander at spring training during an interview with Brock and Salk earlier this morning. So let's dive right into that conversation. They covered, obviously, a lot of the offseason, some of those decisions about looking forward. He talked about some relievers, pitching depth, lots of good stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and roll with who they decide who pitches on opening day, because that's the conversation that I can't wait to find out. Here's what Justin said.
I think that's a decision that's a sort of a collective organizational decision, but I do think it's ultimately the manager and the pitching coaches who should make that call. However, whatever order we start in, we'll will probably not be the order that we're in by the end of April. Things will happen. Somebody will get skipped. We'll move somebody around. We'll have a rain out. Obviously, it's a huge honor the way in which we start to take the ball on opening day. The Mariners have had an unbelievable run of just like dudes with a capital D take the ball on opening day. However, Dan and the pitching coaches decide to work that out, we're in a good spot because we have 5 guys who could legitimately take the ball on opening day for most teams.
Bump.
I don't think you got 5 guys who could take opening day spots on different teams. I think with this group, it's really like 2, I think. But that's Justin doing what he's supposed to do, gas your guys up. This is the best rotation in the game, and it sets a tone. Earlier I said, I was like, man, it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. In June, we're not going to be talking about who had opening day, who started. We're not going to be talking about that. But it's an opportunity to set the tone for your team and to get people excited.
Yeah.
And I think that to get people excited, the name that would get people the most excited is Logan. Even though I am an old head type of dude, I think Castillo can still be the guy, but I also understand look at all the numbers, Logan is your best pitcher. And we've heard, I forgot the analyst we were talking to, he said eventually Kirby's going to be the best guy. You know, you have so many riches with this group. It doesn't really matter in the long run. But right now, yeah, okay, I'm good with Logan. And an organizational decision. Is it really an organizational decision? Like, how many people are sitting down and really talking about this? Who has the final say when it comes to who the starter is going to be? Because there are a couple things that factor into this, right? It's the promoting the day.
Yeah.
You know, getting all your merchandise ready for the starter who's going to be out there. There's Dan. This is how, on this day, he'll be set up to face this team, and we want to have him ready to go there. So I think it's an interesting decision, and it's a big deal right now, but in a month, we're not going to care.
Justin obviously was asked questions about the offseason. I'm glad that I know that there's this effort to focus on spring training and look ahead, but I do think there are a lot of lingering questions for fans. It's why we wanted to talk to Justin about it. It's what Brock and Salk talked about. Justin with some similar sentiment, but because it's new sound, we're going to take another listen to it. So this is whether they would have liked to add more.
I feel fine about the offseason. I want to answer this in the right way. In general, when you go to an offseason, you spend all of October vetting what are the possibilities with other teams. And then free agency starts in early November, and you vet all those possibilities. We tried very hard to make transactions that maybe were more impactful than what we ultimately ended up doing. What we did not want to do is make transactions for transaction's sake. Doing things to make me emotionally feel like we accomplished something that actually made us worse is not a good decision in the long run. There's all sorts of biases and moral hazards that you can attach with the jobs that people in my role do. And what I can't get caught up in is doing something that makes me feel good in a moment. Hey, let's shake up the snow globe. Let's do a bunch of things that ultimately make the roster worse, make the floor lower without making the ceiling higher. So we would have liked to have accomplished more to add more to the team. I don't think that there's an end date on doing that right now.
What do you think of that answer? A lot there. There's a lot there from Justin.
You sure this wasn't from when we interviewed him like 2 weeks ago?
To your point, he's saying the same.
He's consistent.
But I think that he really, I'm going to play one more cut. This is only 30 seconds. This isn't another reason. This is what stood out most to you and I, that Justin genuinely believes in the roster, that he genuinely does.
We believe in this roster. It's partially why we were less transactional, because we felt like just doing things to shake it up when we felt like we do have a good roster that underachieved for large segments of the season last year offensively was not smart. We were banking somewhat on the players that we have being better than they were over the 6-month season. But we need to go show it. There's no other way of getting around it. We cannot play offense. I want to say on July 1st, we were 28th in the league in runs scored. We cannot play offense like that.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a weird question. Just answer with your gut.
That's all I do.
What's Justin saying, and what to you is unsaid?
He's saying, hey, these dudes got to play better, man. They got to play better. We put this team together, and no one is holding up their end of the deal. That's what he's saying. We believe in who these guys are and why we brought them together. That's what he's saying. What he's not saying is that, I guess he kind of did say this. Hey, look, we put out some deals out there. It just didn't work out, and we weren't just going to make moves. And I don't think anyone's asking them just to make moves. No, we're not saying go get a guy that no one really knows
Scratch this
about
itch.
and get 3 or 4 bats. No, that would have been concerning if you were just going out there and bringing in a whole bunch of names. Now, you did bring in a name or two that a lot of people aren't really familiar with. No one's asking you to go out there and make all these crazy moves. What they're asking you to do is be in the fight, to be in the trade market, to let the fans know, look, we're trying everything. No one wants to come here. We got to work on a trade. And another thing they let us know is that they weren't touching that rotation. That was the only way they was going to get a bat here.
Yep.
That was the only way they were going to get a bat that you and I would sit here and be excited about, is if they touched that rotation. So once again, they are being true to who they are. And as an adult, I can respect that. Like, all right, this is how you want to go about it. This is how you go about it. But also as an adult, I can see a guy going to the bar for his 6th drink and say, he's not going to make it home tonight. I respect you. That's what you're going to do tonight. But I know how this is going to end for you, dog. I've seen you. I've seen you before. You're in the friend group. That's what this feels like. It's like we're watching the Mariners not do much and telling us that everything's going to be okay. And we're sitting here saying, no, we've seen this before. If they play like they did to end the season, if the rotation stays healthy, I can see what they're talking about. But there's just a whole bunch of ifs. And for some reason, whether it be the batter's eye, whether it be the environment, whether it be whatever, guys just don't play well here to start.
I think Justin is saying and also does believe in the team. He's saying, I believe in this team. I like these pieces. I like our offseason. What is unsaid is context. What is unsaid is for what we have to work with, for where we are as a market, for the budget that we have, I think we made the right decisions because we didn't want to trade an arm.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, unsaid is this elephant in the room of, well, would you have found moves that you felt were worth it if you had more to spend? And he's never going to say, Jerry's never going to say that. Justin's never going to say that. No market that isn't a top spender is ever going to say that they have limitations, because they want to project confidence in a team. They want to have confidence in what they did. They've worked hard to negotiate and navigate these deals, and they feel proud of them. I genuinely got the impression when Justin was sitting down with us, and I'm sure Brock and Salk felt this morning, that he believes in this team. Fundamentally thinks, no, I think we have a good group. It didn't work out last year, but like, I'm really intrigued by what we put together, and I didn't want to mess up some of these pieces. I didn't want to mess up the chemistry with the starters. I didn't want to deal from this position where we're elite to try to get better, just moderately with bats. If I think that the bats we have could have better seasons, I didn't want to do that. But what's unsaid is the context of, because also we didn't have millions and millions and millions to drop on someone new.
Yeah, and that's him doing his job. He works for the the Mariners. He's not going to throw them underneath the bus and say, well, if we had 15 more million, then maybe we could have put together a team that is a bit more attractive on paper. His job is to sell, is to make us buy what they're selling. But at the same time, like you mentioned, I believe that he believes that this team is going to be better, because we've seen it. There's been pockets of these guys playing well. But what needs to happen? Julio needs to come out hot. You need to figure out what's going on at second base. Is Demo going to be your everyday guy, or is Bliss going to get an opportunity? Can Robles tap into what he did last year? Can a Rosarena tap into what he did last year? There are just a lot of question marks, man. And when you look at the better teams, there's less question marks, more people being eager to see them go out there and just play the game. Where with this fan base and this organization, we're sitting here thinking, all right, well, if all these things happen, maybe they can get her done. So it's going to be interesting, man. And I love spring training. I hate it at the same time, man. Because we're going to talk about all these dudes and what they're doing and what they're not doing. Oh, Munoz, this changeup is crazy. Might not even see it. Julio looks great, man. He took Munoz deep into center. Might start off slow. So what? Right? It's just spring training. I love it, and I hate it at the same time because you don't know what's real. So just guys, stay healthy. Get your hacks. Get your throws in. Let's go from there.
I'm going to stay on the topic of the offseason for one more bit of sound, and then we're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about Julio. This is the last cut here on the offseason on whether or not they were surprised by the market.
I wouldn't say we were surprised, and I don't mean that to come off in an arrogant way at all. Like, every year, somebody gets a little more than you're expecting. Somebody's a little harder to acquire via trade than you're expecting. But in aggregate, like, we viewed the infield market as kind of a tough market this offseason, but we knew that was an area we had to address. We viewed the pitching market as likely a very expensive venture in free agency and a tough to acquire venture in trade. We had a lot of conversations this offseason, and ultimately we just never got to a point where anyone in our room was convicted or had momentum that it was going to make us better to trade off of our current Major League roster for pieces we just didn't feel like were of equal value to our team.
Okay. I mean, I can be frustrated with the lack of spending. And I had, Justin wasn't surprised. I thought prospects would be easier to deal. They weren't. So I was thinking, well, make trades, give up some of your farm system. But if people weren't biting and they were looking at major league talent, I could see a world where they thought it's not worth it to us. It's not worth it to give up to give up Cal. It's not worth it to give up Logan or George. It's not worth it.
Because those are your strengths. And teams that give up names like that know they got a youngster waiting or they're just deep. And we can honestly say that this team isn't very deep. So I get that logic. They're not very deep. They're deep in the rotation, but, after that, things get a little shaky. And they're not deep with guys who have been consistent either. You look at them, they're deep with potential, like maybe this is going to work out. But because they don't have those for sure things, a plethora of them, right, then I think their moves reflect that, the hesitancy to give up a strength in hopes that you're going to be able to double up somewhere. But that's gambling. That's the position this team is in. They're not in a position of a team like the Yankees, the Dodgers, and all that good stuff. You have to take risk. And I feel like they're hesitant to take risk because of the money they don't have to spend, and that they feel if one thing goes wrong, if one strength is taken away, it could just derail everything that's going on. Me personally, I love the arms, didn't want to trade any of the arms, but I would have, because I'm gonna gamble now. I'm gonna gamble. If you think Julio's gonna play better, Victor, Rosarena, Cal, JP's gonna bounce back. All right, let's give an arm to support those guys, because I feel like there's enough talent in the rotation in general for them to make up for maybe an arm that comes in that isn't as good as a Kirby or whoever they were considering trading. They weren't, but they were to consider somebody. It's a tough position for them to be in. I feel for them.
Yeah.
But how do you take the next step? You take a risk, and we just haven't seen that yet.
I don't disagree with you at all. Well said. I'm not even going to add on to the offseason talk because I think that's a good way to sum it up. Let's talk about leadership. I think that bump this team in particular, and some other teams are in this pool, leadership really, really matters. I am not saying that leadership doesn't matter on the Dodgers or that talent doesn't matter with the Dodgers. I am saying you could have me batting 8th for the Dodgers, and I think they'd still be a World Series favorite. Like, that is, you know what I mean? Like, there is a reservoir of not just talent, but when there's that much talent and that much optimism and that much momentum, the leadership you need just needs to be like, keep it going, guys.
Right.
Let's keep it up. Leadership on a team where you're going to have moments of, we're out of this. And multiple times. That we know that as Mariners fans. We know that there are going to be lulls in the season. We know that there are going to be moments. Oh my God, I always think of that game against the Houston Astros where they get back into it. Dylan Moore hits a grand slam. They win. It's one of the only baseball games that immediately after I rewatch from the beginning. And then the next day, there's that trade, and it feels like a gut punch, and it's just like, oh, I feel like we took a big emotional step forward and then a big one back. That's a wild swing. You're going to have those moments, and leadership matters on a team like that. Justin Hollander talking about who the veteran leaders are going to be with Justin Turner gone.
Feel really good about the clubhouse as a whole. Obviously, that's a part of Donovan Solano's skill set. He's been on good teams for a long time. After we agreed to terms with him, Perry Hill, unprompted, picked up the phone and called me and just said the best. He is the best. He and Polo, fit really well together. Bone compared the two of them and said, these guys are at the top of my scale for veteran leaders who always are in the right place, who always do the right thing. Obviously, we have some of our own guys coming back that we feel good about. I think Cal and Logan Gilbert taking steps forward in their own careers. Young leaders like Bryce Miller, guys around the diamond. Dylan Moore has been a leader in our clubhouse. I do think Victor Robles is sort of an underrated leader and really galvanized the group. The energy that he brought every day last year was big for us. So I don't think it's ever really one person, but there's no question that guys like Carlos and JT brought a ton to us in that area, just in the value of having been through it and done almost everything you can do in baseball.
Bump, where do you hope leadership comes from with this club?
Julio. And leadership isn't just I'm standing in front of the team and giving a rah-rah speech. 162 games. You can't be speaking in front of the team all the time. It's approach and performance. the weakest player on your team is not the leader. As much experience as he has, he can't be the leader because you got to be able to back it up with some type of performance, right? I will give them this. He did mention when they signed Santana, great leadership signing. Turner, great signing. Even Gino, great. They do well at that. They'll bring in some veterans that will make the game fun and remind you about connecting the dots and how to be a pro. Yeah, for sure. I understand that. But now it's about talent, man, because leadership can only take you so far. I guarantee one of the worst teams in MLB has a good leader, but you got to be able to perform. And that's what it comes down to. And I hope they do that because it's right around the corner, man. It's about to go down.
And leadership, not to make a direct football comparison, but it just means more coming from certain groups. Like it meant more that Cam Chancellor, Doug Baldwin, and Dwayne Brown at one point were all leaders in this locker room. Like of every Seahawks locker room I've covered, including losing seasons and struggling seasons and weird seasons, the best leader on the team or the one everyone turned to has never been like a punter. You know, like it does carry weight, to your point, when someone who matters to the team matters to the guys on the team off the field.
There's a reason why quarterbacks hop in the league and they got a C on their chest already.
Exactly.
Like, hey, you got to be our best player.
All right, let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what type of offseason should the Hawks need to even resemble what the Eagles were able to do?
Man, I was reading Bill Barnwell's article about, free agents and what teams should do and all that good stuff, and he highlighted the Eagles. They picked up Saquon Barkley, all-pro. Zach Bond on a 1-year deal. That was a sneaky pick. C.J. Garner-Johnson came back. And then you got Mekhi Becton, who was a tackle, and they moved him to guard. That is a big ask. I don't think many teams or any teams this year are going to be able to put together that type of offseason. So I tried to find like a fantasy equivalent for each move, right? So a Saquon Barkley, you're not gonna find a running back like him. So a T. Higgins, you let a Tyler Lockett go. Maybe you bring in a T. Higgins. Gonna cost a lot of money. I doubt that happens, but that's like a fantasy pick, right? And a Zach Bond, right? A guy who another team kind of gave up on, and now you're gonna put him in position to have succeed. I look at Kaiser White, who's worth about 5.8, and then just the real pipe dream. Khalil Mack. He's old and he's going to be $23 million. Not going to happen, though. Right? And then offensive line help. I'm looking at Reisner, who I pointed out, Becton, who is now a free agent, who signed a 1-year deal with Philly, and Trey Smith. How hard does that sound? It sounds really difficult. It ain't going to happen, but that just shows how impressive the Eagles offseason was and the guys that they brought in and how they're doing things over there. So I say that to tell you guys, don't expect a lot, okay? Just re-sign the guys you're supposed to re-sign. Pick up a guy here or there, get better in the draft, and fix that offensive line.
Second down. What's another name who won't be working out at the combine, and you're okay with it?
Ashton Genty, don't do it. Don't. Why? You're already the best running back we've seen on paper since Barry Sanders. All right, I know you guys are going to throw some names out there on the text lines. Go ahead and do it. But why do it? He's projected to run a 4. Let me see, I got it right here. He's projected to run a 4.42. What if he doesn't? What if he runs a 4.5? What if he runs a 4.6? Right? You got guys like Amari Hampton from North Carolina, who's a baller. You got guys like Henderson from Ohio State, who's a baller. This is the deepest running back class we've seen in a very long time. If your body is not ready to perform, don't go out there and do it. I think eventually he has to run. Go to your pro day and you run. You put yourself in an environment that you're comfortable with, and you do what these quarterbacks do. I'm fine. It's rare that you have a guy that's not a quarterback in this type of position. I think we saw Jackson Smith and Jigba do it, but that was because we saw him tear up in the Rose Bowl for 300 yards and do his thing. It's rare. So Genty's not going to perform. I'm good on that, man. You just make sure you say the right things in these interviews, do your thing. You have all the leverage. There's only about 10 players a year, if that have leverage when it comes to this NFL stuff. He's one of them. I ain't mad at him.
Third down. What's a rule being discussed that should be changed immediately?
Immediately. You should be able to onside kick whenever the heck you want to. You're not going to get the ball anyway. You should be able to do it whenever you want to. We watched the Super Bowl. The Chiefs would have done that thing in the third quarter. Coming out the gates, I think they had the ball, go on a drive, you score, onside kick. You go ahead and do that, man. I think it's ridiculous. They're also going to explore the 4th and 20 conversion for getting the ball back. It was tabled last year. They didn't get enough votes last year for it to go through, but you have to bring it back. So I hope they're collecting data from this year and allowing these guys to have an opportunity to get the football. You should onside kick. I still think you should declare that you're going to onside kick.
Yeah.
I feel that it's safer, give people the heads up. But the fact that you can't do it until the fourth quarter, when you're getting blown out by 21 points, you should be able to do it. So word on the street is they're talking about it again. They're also going to put out the 4th and 20 situation as well. For an offense to get a chance to get the ball back. I like the 4th and 20. I think that's realistic.
I do too, and I want that to be like a Hall of Fame candidate in his 10th year of eligibility. Finally, 4th and 20 was approved with just over 80% of the vote. We finally just gave him the Oscar. 4th down. What's a name you need signed ASAP?
Where Ernest at? Why are we still waiting on this? What's taking so long?
Also, what's Ernest tweeting about?
Ernest tweeting about somebody talking about, y'all stop talking about Ernest, okay? I don't think he's a locker room cancer. He tweeted something out alluding that someone said he was a locker room cancer. I don't believe that one bit.
No, I've never heard that.
Stop talking about him and sign this man ASAP. I'm looking at the top 100 free agents available right now, and Ernest is on that list at 58. He should be priority number 1 for this organization here. Why is this taking so long? I need to see him there. This is ridiculous. So the number 1 prospect is, or not prospect, free agent is T. Higgins. You have Darnold at 2. You have Trey Smith at 3. We'll love to see Trey Smith over here. Doubt that happens, though. And you got Eagles edge rusher Josh Sweat at 4. The Eagles got some work to do. They got to re-sign some guys, but focus on us. Get Ernest back over here.
I wish I could ask Ernest, even off the record, like, was there a report that you were a locker room cancer? Did you see tweets about this? Like, what? Where'd it come from? I mean, I'm not doubting he saw it somewhere.
Yeah, it was motivated by something.
It was motivated by something, but I want to know what it was and who said what, and like if there's something where, do you feel like these are rumors that are being spread about you in the middle of contract? Like, what's happening? I don't know.
Whatever it is.
I haven't heard. I didn't hear a single bad thing, including off the record, about Ernest from the second he was signed. I didn't hear a bad thing.
So let's get the money right. Get that man paid.
All right. What I need to know is coming your way at 11:45. It's also our final segment, so get your questions in now. 866-979-3776. Again, that number is 866-979-3776. Timeline coming your way next.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
We are now speaking with the architect of your Seattle Seahawks.
How we doing, football fans?
With Seahawks President of Football Operations and General Manager John Schneider.
My job is to do what's best for the Seattle Seahawks organization. I have to keep wrapping my mind around that and trying to communicate effectively.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
What's the standard the Seahawks defense needs to be held to under Mike McDonald?
The John Schneider Show.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
The Gene Simmons Band, live Tuesday, April 8th at Muckleshoot Event Center. He's the God of Thunder. He's going to rock and roll all night and bring you an unforgettable night of head-banging rock and roll. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. The Gene Simmons Band, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Hey, Brock Ewart here. And as a former college and professional player and quarterback in particular, the years of wear and tear and some of those hits left my knee and some of my body in some constant pain. On and off the field, the weight room, all those heavy squats and all of it. In fact, my knee was really bothering me last year. That's why I decided to try stem cell injection therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson at Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine over there in Kirkland. And really, it was an awesome decision. With Dr. Dan, the procedure itself was so quick and easy. In and out, same day. Next day, I'm out watching football practice, a baseball game, and the staff was absolutely A+. And my knee, well, it's a whole lot better now, and I'm back to squatting and enjoying a much better quality of life. Call Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD, with Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. Over 30 years of experience. No one, and I mean no one, has more experience in pain medicine techniques. You can reach him at 425-823-4000. That's 425-823-4000 or DanielNelsonMD.com.
This is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish.
For over 30 years, Big Trees has been helping homeowners and businesses move trees with advanced equipment and a professional and proven transplant process. Need a tree moved on your property or off-site? Trust the experts at Big Trees. Learn more about our transplanting process at bigtreesupply.com.
Beauty, privacy, instantly. Big Trees.
Things are just better when you switch to Cricket. The sun shines a little brighter. Happy music starts randomly playing. Best of all, you can get iPhone 13 for just $29.99. With the ultra-bright Super Retina display and up to 19 hours of video playback, all on Cricket's super-fast 5G network. See? Isn't that better? Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new account and port in on $60 plan. First service charge and tax to its sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hey, Bill! Got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb, expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is the timeline on Bump and Stacy. A quick reminder before we get to the top stories here on the timeline that What I Need to Know is our last segment today because we're sending you to Cactus League play at noon. So get your questions in now for What I Need to Know. Now, 866-979-3776. Whatever question you have, text it now to the Mac and Jack's text line. Let's go ahead and get to our first story here. Legendary head coach Rick Pitino says he's not recruiting high school kids to play at St. John's because you can't immediately win with them.
A lot of these guys feel like they've gotten out because of the transfer portal and NIL and having to play a different game. You've kind of almost run into the fire and been like, I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
I like it because I spent 10 years in the pros, and to me, it's almost a carbon copy of the EuroLeague. The EuroLeague, if you sign a player for 2 years, that's a long time. So it's really a one-year contract. You're getting different players every year, and that's the way it's with us. Now, fortunately for us, we haven't lost our freshmen yet. Our freshmen have come back. So this year we're losing. We're not even looking at a high school basketball player. We're losing Aaron Scott, Kadari Richmond, and Davon Smith. So we're looking for 3 transfer guys, and I like it.
Wait, so you're not even looking at any college or high school?
No, not this year.
So if a 5-star high school kid
calls you up and is like, hey, I know you're not looking for, but I want to come to St. John?
I probably wouldn't take him because I don't think you can win and win big with high school kids.
That was a really fascinating take on the way that NIL has influenced his own recruitment process.
That's a real take. He says we haven't lost a freshman, so they're good. And I'm trying to win right now. And unless you're getting the top 5 freshmen in the country who are only going to do 1 year, then go to the NBA, you're not gonna recruit those guys. This is just what college, especially college basketball, football is different. You can recruit high school kids and get some freshmen and develop them. It's just a longer road to the NFL, and you need more pieces on your playing board, so to speak, when you're talking about football. But with basketball, no, he's trying to win right now. He's coached college basketball. He's coached the league. He gave the European kind of example of it. You don't have to agree with it to understand it. I understand it, but I think it is messed up for these freshmen who are going to get opportunities at some universities because of the climate of the sport. But it's real. If you're trying to win right now, you've already, and this might be a model for other universities. You get a good group of freshmen who come in. Maybe they recruit freshmen every other year. Say, all right, as long as we don't leave or don't have any freshmen leave, we'll be fine. We can hit the transfer portal. No, I don't disagree with it because I understand what he's trying to do. You're trying to create a program that can compete with anybody right now. You no longer can do that with freshmen.
No, you can't. And also, I wonder if there's a bit of a have your cake and eat it too feeling about what I think that NIL deals have complicated college sports. I think it is morally right that players are able to make money from their names, images, and likenesses if schools are, right? Schools are making millions. It feels more fair, especially since a lot of these players may not make much of anything after college. However, I do think it complicates things. I think the transfer portal complicates things. And I'll complain about it and talk about the difficulties of it, but I'll also acknowledge that there is such a pressure, maybe more so than ever, on college coaches, on college programs to turn things around quickly, to win quickly. People were talking about Ryan Day being on the hot seat for losing once again to Michigan, including me. And then you go on and win a national championship. And so maybe I shouldn't be surprised that coaches and players are leaning into whatever can be the fastest possible avenue to winning.
Because you don't have the runway you used to have.
You know, like you can't develop a team. You can't be like, we'll take freshmen.
You're not going to see a Krzyzewski anymore. What? How long was he at Duke? 35 years?
About that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You're not going to see that anymore because it's college sports you have every opportunity to build a winning team right now. There's no longer you have this kid from Culver City come up to Washington State and hopefully by his 3rd year he's a good football player. It's not. All right, we got money. We're giving you money. You go out and you build your team right now. You got a year or two. If you don't do it, we don't like the way you're doing it, and it's done for you. But I think that Pitino, he's like the perfect kind of coach for this. I think he is. His mental is right for it. His approach is right for it. You don't have to agree with it, but this is the way you win ball games now. The old way, you can sit in your old rocking chair and complain about how things are now. You sit in that rocking chair and you don't say nothing because the game is going to pass you by. It's passed you by. And you're not going to be able to compete. So just get with the times. You don't have to agree with it, but if you want to win, that's how you do it.
My next story reminds me of this analogy. If summer were to start and then you got an email from a teacher that said, you know, congratulations on summer break, you do still have one detention to serve. You'd be like, I don't.
No, it's crazy.
No, I don't. So Eagles linebacker Jalix Hunt shared that defensive coordinator Vic Fangio made the defense meet up before the Super Bowl parade, not before the Super Bowl, not before any game, before the parade. They've already won. It's the offseason because he was disappointed they gave up 22 second-half points to the Chiefs.
After we won the Super Bowl, we came in, I think we had the parade Friday. On Thursday, we came in just for a team meeting to let everybody know how the parade was going to go. The offense dips out. Vic, defense come out. He goes over, we have a checklist each game of what we need to do. And if you get a yes in those boxes, 9 times out of 10 win. Did we win? Yes. Did we hold them to less than 4 explosive plays? Yes. Did we win on 3rd down conversions? Yes. Did we win on 4th down conversions? Did we stop them in the red zone? Did we miss tackles? Did we sack Mahomes? Like, each thing. He goes to just the first half stats. Good. We stopped them here. They got negative 55 yards, negative 11 in the first half. This is unacceptable. Circles the second half. Unacceptable. 22 points. We won. They didn't score in the first half. We're having a meeting after the Super Bowl. He wants perfection.
I love Vic Fangio for this. I do. I'm sorry.
He's wild for that.
He is. These players are 2 beers in.
Nah, I don't even watch film of our last game, win or lose, every season. I don't touch that film for months. I don't touch it. It doesn't matter. I'm not preparing for anything next week. It doesn't matter. But this is why, one of the reasons why I'm sure he's considered one of the great coordinators of the game, because he cares. But I also would like to imagine that he's having a good time as well. And he had himself a couple beers. He goes, man, let's talk to these dudes, man. This is ridiculous. And having fun with it. But what I respect is that he's sticking to his process no matter what happens. You won the Super Bowl. There's a process that I stick to that is going to win. Another thing is there are some guys he's talking to that are not going to be on the team next year.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I'm up for a contract this year. Just let me enjoy my moment. So, Vic, I get it, Vic, but, man, let them dudes live.
It does feel like that thing of serving detention after you've already graduated and you're like, but why? I'm already out. You gave me my diploma. I got a ring. I got a Lombardi trophy. We're out of here. But yeah, something about it is just so funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that that Hunt tells the story too of like, and then we get to the end, circles it, unacceptable. 22 points from that Chiefs team. Oh my God. Next and last story here. ESPN's Shams Charania reports legendary Spurs head coach Greg Popovich will not return to San Antonio's sideline this season, and his coaching future is uncertain. He's been out since November after he suffered a mild stroke. He's also been San Antonio's head coach since '96 and the winningest coach in NBA history.
Pop, man, that's unfortunate. If you know his story, lost his wife a few years back, and now he's got this going with him. And it's unfortunate because the Spurs got something going with Wemby over there. Who did this grab? Was it De'Aaron Fox? Yeah, De'Aaron Fox is over there now. They got something brewing. And if he were not to come back as the head coach, I'm sure he's in the front office. There's no way they're going to let Pop just dip like that. If he wants to be involved, he should be involved. He's been stressing me out since '96, going up against him and the Spurs all those dang years. So hope you feel better, Pop, man. You do what's best for you.
What's the coaching cycle like in the NBA? Like if it was an NFL team needed a head coach, I'd have like a general idea of who that team might be looking at. Do you guys get that with NBA teams at all?
I feel like they get
get fired.
Their leash is longer. You think they get fired quickly?
I think so. I mean, Frank Vogel, the Lakers head coach, he got fired a season or two after winning a championship?
Anybody who rocks with LeBron, you got a year or two to get up out of there. I think it's who you're attached to. If you're not winning with LeBron, you're gone. But I don't know. I have to look into that. My initial feeling is that they get at least 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, you guys, get your questions in for what I need to know. Bum Curtis, Matt, and I are out of here after this. So this is our last 10 minutes with you. We're going to go over some fun questions, sports questions, non-sports questions, whatever it is, and then we're sending you to Cactus League Play. That number is 866-979-3776. Again, 866-979-3776. What I need to know is coming your way next.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
Brock, what is your bold prediction for the Seahawks this year?
Every day at 7:45.
I was looking at the numbers defensively when it was all said and done. Finished in the top 15 in your major categories. I think year 2 with more time on task. Year 2 with a couple additional pieces. Year 2 with everybody basically coming back defensively and hopefully adding a difference maker third corner. This could be a top 5 defense in the league.
Blue 88, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Stacy Rost here. If you're like me, you've been putting off getting a new car for years. Maybe you don't want to take time to shop or you don't feel comfortable with more spending, and I totally get it. But I finally had some repairs for my car that felt like too much to overcome for what it was worth, so I just pulled the trigger on a new vehicle. I knew just where to go. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. I went over the selection of new and used vehicles at wayscarford.com. A ton of Ford models like Broncos and Escapes, but also models from Kia, Chevrolet, Toyota, and more, all at amazing prices. Also amazing, the shopping experience in person. You guys know how much trust matters when you're shopping for a new car, so I knew I could depend on Wayscar Ford, a company that's been in business for 103 years in Auburn. I ended up with a 2024 Bronco Sport, and I'm obsessed. In hindsight, I cannot believe I didn't do this sooner. Heated seats, a heated steering wheel, and 4-wheel drive in the winter has been a game changer. So head to wayscarford.com to check out the selection for yourself. I know you'll enjoy the process as much as I did. That's Wayscar Ford in Auburn, wayscarford.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. What? They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Swedish Cyberknife has been serving the Pacific Northwest with innovative and compassionate care since 2006. Being able to precisely and accurately deliver radiation makes a difference in terms of controlling cancer and reducing the risk of side effects. The treatment is completed in only 5 sessions, lasting less than an hour. Patient surveys consistently give Swedish Cyberknife the highest of rankings. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here. Let's talk stats. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the state of Washington ranks number 4 in the whole U.S. for the highest concentration of roofers. That's literally thousands of roofers to choose from. So how do you know how to pick the right one for your home? Well, you start by eliminating those who aren't GAF Master Elite certified. That's about 97% of all roofers. So now you're down to the elite 3%. How many have over 35 years of experience? How many utilize the catch-all system to keep yards and driveways clear of any debris? Family owned with local roots and have the stamp of approval from the Mike Salk household? Well, that leaves you with just one, the roofing company you can trust. That's Riverside Roofing. In a sea of thousands of competitors, Riverside Roofing continues to stand out. And guess what? They have openings this winter for your roof project. So have them out to your house this week. Call them at 425-949-8252 or go to riversideroofingllc.com. They are the roofing company you can trust.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. Just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Is that a new Samsung Galaxy A15 5G?
Yeah, I got it for free when I joined Cricket Nation.
Sounds pretty great.
At Cricket, anyone can get a new phone when they switch.
Whoa.
With a high-quality camera, meaning more flattering selfies for all. And super fast 5G, so you can post them for all to see. Your friends, your family, your ex. Free phone! Free phone!
Okay, I'll switch.
Welcome to Cricket Nation.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax to its sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jack's text line 866-979-3776. What I need to know. I've got sports and non-sports. I'm going to start with a blend of both, though. Says one listener, you've been tasked with curating a 3-day film festival, and baseball is the theme. What films? They said 3 films, but what 3 films are your headliners?
Ooh, Major League. A little comedy there.
Sandlot?
I was thinking Sandlot.
Yeah, and you got something for the kids.
League of Our Own.
League is a good one, too.
Maybe those 3. Major League, Sandlot, League of Our Own. Is there like an obvious one we're missing?
Yeah, there's one.
Rookie of the Year is a good one.
Yeah.
What else out there? What's the one?
Say it's...
What's the one with Kevin Costner?
He's in a few. Bull Durham.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
That's the one.
Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah, what was the one he was in as a Detroit Tigers pitcher? I forget what.
Yeah, what was that one?
I forget.
And you've got, Moneyball,
Yeah.
Trouble with the Curve. You got more recent ones. I'm thinking of childhood movies.
I was going to say, if you wanted to take up an entire 3-day span, just put Ken Burns' baseball on. That thing's like 20 hours.
There's the latest Shane Gillis has a bit about Ken Burns and just like how long those documentaries are and like how people pretend to like them. But he's like, this is just sacrifices you make for relationships or whatever. I was like, Ken Burns' baseball is great.
A lot of people getting on us for not having Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
And
okay.
I'm not a fan of Field of Dreams.
I mean, it's cool.
That's my take.
It's cool.
It's very cheesy.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like how some people's favorite sports movie of all time is Remember the Titans, and if it's not one of yours, they're like, are you insane? It's quintessential.
People were correcting me. It's For the Love of the Game. That was the Kevin Costner Detroit Tigers.
I like that you said people are correcting you. We have maybe 15 texts all like right, bam, 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 bam.
Kevin Costner, he is a baseball movie guy.
Yeah.
And,
which makes sense.
My apologies.
He looks
Mr.
like
Costner.
every 40-year-old pitcher that ever lived.
Could I do Eastbound and Down? I know it's not a movie, but maybe we do just a couple episodes of Eastbound and Down. What was the one that was the minor league announcer?
Brockmire.
Brockmire.
Oh.
So good. Honestly, I want to replace at least one movie with a great series.
What's great about Brockmire is that there's a lot of inside broadcasting jokes that a lot of us radio people and probably TV people would understand more so that they just go over everybody else's head.
Oh, 42 with Chadwick Boseman.
Oh.
Mr. 3000.
Mr. 3000. I ain't seen that one in a minute.
Oh, there are so many good ones. Okay, I'm moving on. We didn't narrow it down to 3. We failed this question.
We got 10.
What I need to know, is there any particular song you remember hating when you were young and way too cool, but now that you're older and more mature, you actually really respect it?
Nothing I can think of now, but I remember when the song first came out, I'm like, oh, this is dumb. And then it ended up being like my song on my profile page. I see you winding and grinding up on that flow. I got my MySpace. I'm like, yeah. I hated that song
I gotta
at
make
first,
sure it
though.
plays when people log onto my MySpace so they know what I'm about.
You already know.
Mine would probably be like when I was in middle school, like early middle, maybe even in elementary school going into middle school is when Avril Lavigne kind of first came onto the scene. It was like pop punk. And I remember thinking, lame, because you don't like anything that's popular when you're a teenager because you have to have an attitude. And as an adult, when I hear like good, cheesy pop now, I'm like, how do you not love this? How do you not feel it in your soul? It's like candy. Okay. What I need to know. Let's see. Is a heated steering wheel one of the most underrated features of a car?
Oh my goodness gracious, it's great. It is great. I love a heated steering wheel. Hey, it only takes like 3 minutes too, and you're good. And then you gotta turn that thing off.
That's true. I leave my heated seats on all the way and the heated steering wheel on almost no matter it's the opposite of like I'll drink iced coffee even if it's snowing, and I'll leave my heated steering wheel and heated seat on even if it's like 75 degrees. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm figuring out who I am as a body temperature. Let's see. 866-979-3776. Get your questions in. What I need to know. I've been hearing a lot of trade rumors lately about Castillo, Harry Ford, a deal to Boston. If Seattle decides to trade Ford, does it mean they're going to go all in to re-sign Cal, and then vice versa? Would holding on to Ford mean they're more likely to move on from Cal?
Well, Ford can play multiple sports, right? I mean, sports. Multiple spots. So, no, I don't think that means. I think ideally they want to keep Cal. They want to keep Ford.
Yeah, I think I think also maybe they would have moved on from a couple of these prospects and just didn't find many people biting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 866-979-3776. Baseball right around the corner. Opening day, March 27th. You get to T-Mobile on day one. What food are you buying?
Oh, Moto Pizza. That's there now, right? Is Moto Pizza there?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's there.
Yeah, I'm going Moto.
Remember when Moto Pizza was like you had to place an order and you'd get it in like 3 months? Matt, you remember this. You and I both were like, we have to place these orders now.
I was looking forward to that pizza for 3 months of my life, and it was worth it. It was worth the wait. It was so good.
Yes, it was amazing, but I remember when it was like, you have to be on a wait list. You have to check the Instagram. They're going to say that this is dropped.
They
you have
got
to
to do
like
a background
book days.
check on you.
Yeah, they got to check your credit. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can just get Moto Pizza.
Yep.
You can just go in and get
Bomb,
it.
though.
I know. Maybe the wait made it better. What's the best all-time donut? They said donut type.
All-time
What's that mean?
donut.
Like
Donut
bar,
type? Like
maple
donut
bar.
hole?
I like the cinnamon rolls. Those are they're called, right?
A cinnamon roll?
Cinnamon roll, yeah.
Now, I'm really glad you mentioned this bump because...
That's not a
No,
donut.
listen. That's what I was going
How
to
is
say.
it not a donut?
It's not.
It qualifies.
Are you thinking of... Okay, are you thinking cinnamon roll or like the little like bear claw things, the flat ones?
The flat ones that you get at the donut shop.
Okay, that's a donut.
Yeah.
That's a donut.
Yeah.
But when I think of like Cinnabon, that's not a donut.
No.
Okay.
So what do you call the ones at the donut shop?
I call them... I don't think they're bear claws. They're not, but I call them bear claws. Bear claws are different, but... They are,
Just like
though. They're like
swirl.
they're cinnamon swirl donuts.
There we go. Cinnatwist.
Cinnatwist.
Someone just texted that in.
Yeah. Okay, that's definitely a donut. Because I
Yeah.
don't agree with Lefko when he says maple bars aren't donuts. I think he's being a contrarian.
No, they're donuts.
But I will agree with Curtis that cinnamon rolls are not donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. 866-979-3776. What I need to know. Someone said, would you go Cinnatwist over maple bar?
That's a tough fight, man. But yeah, I'm going Cinnatwist.
Oh, I like this one for a last question. I went with my dad and boys and saw LeBron drop 40 while being 40. That's a cool thing to see in person. What sport do you think you can be great at the oldest age other than golf?
Oh, you already know it's going to be golf.
I know. I mean, there's literally a senior.
Bowling.
Okay.
Bowling.
Okay. What about of the major sports?
Hockey.
At the oldest age?
Mm-hmm. Ovechkin.
I mean, you could be
Crosby's
you could be a
37
kicker.
right now. Yeah, you actually, it has to be baseball.
But it'd have to
Has
be-
to be.
I mean, Jamie Moyer was darn near 50 when he retired.
Yeah, I would say baseball or a specialist in football, but even as a specialist in football, not far over your 40s.
You can be a kicker. Kickers kick until they're 40-something.
Yeah, like 40, 43, 44. But like, when was the last football player to get closest to even being past
Jason
40?
Peters.
Jason Peters?
He was on the Seahawks practice squad this year.
Oh, man. At
Didn't
43?
play in the game, but he was on the roster.
That check, though.
I wonder if there's any player in the league right now born in the 70s. I don't know. Who cares? I'm going to look this up later. That will do it for us today. You've got Cactus League play coming your way, beginning with a very quick Mariners pregame show and then on into first pitch. That starts next.
Seattle Sports is in Arizona for spring training baseball.
Our goal really is to come out of spring training and to play that consistent brand of baseball from beginning to end.
Go behind the scenes with Brock and Salk as the Seattle Mariners get ready for the 2025 season. All this week from 6 to 10.
What a masterful performance by the big right-hander Logan Gilbert.
And hear every pitch of spring training baseball on Seattle Sports. Streaming on the Seattle Sports app.
Holy smokes.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. The season's first tryout for adults ages 18 to 65 and older is this Sunday, March 2nd at Hogan Park at Russell Road in Kent. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For over 55 years, you've trusted us for roofing, siding, windows, decking, and gutters. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Old Spice Swagger Body Wash will make you the MVP of freshness and confidence. With its irresistible scent, it will transform your shower experience, leaving you feeling fresh on and off the field. Pair it with Old Spice Swagger Deodorant, the #1 aluminum-free brand that keeps you feeling like a Super Bowl champion 24/7 when used daily. But don't wait. This dynamic duo is available at Costco for a limited time only. Old Spice, official deodorant partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 59, where freshness meets football greatness.
This is Mariners Baseball on Seattle Sports.
Take every game with you on the go by downloading the Seattle Sports app.
710 KIRO AM Seattle.